Hello, good afternoon. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, I wish to brief and clarify the position of Islamic Republic of Iran regarding today's meeting of the Security Council held under the so-called agenda item non-proliferation. The United States, in its capacity as the current president of the Security Council, has once again misused its position and pressured members to convene this meeting. Holding a meeting under an agenda item whose mandate has already expired is nothing less than a blatant abuse of powers and procedures of the Security Council for narrow political purposes. The position of the Islamic Republic of Iran is clear, consistent and firmly on the record, including in this official communication to the Security Council and Secretary General during past months. Security Council Resolution 2231 definitively terminated on 18 October 2025. As of that date, it was concluded to have no legal effect to operate mandate. This position has also been echoed by some members of the Council. At today's meeting, two permanent members of the Council have taken principled and legal position and objected to the agenda of the meeting, considering it illegal and misuse of the President's authority by the US and a violation of Council's rule of procedures. The claim made in today's meeting by France, United Kingdom, and United States that the so-called snapback mechanism has been triggered is baseless and a clear fabrication. The mechanism was available only to the current JCPOA participants according in good faith. Participation is a legal status based on constitute compliance, not a historical label. The three European countries have been in persistent, significant non-performance of their obligation. Under basic principles of international law, a party in material breach cannot invoke enforcement mechanism. The E3 yearly attempt to trigger the dispute resolution mechanism was legally and procedurally flawed and exhausted. Accordingly, the Security Council's role under Resolution 2231 came to a definitive end. All nuclear-related provisions, measures, and restrictions were permanently terminated. The Islamic Republic of Iran will not recognize any attempt by any state or body to revive, reinterpret, or reinforce these terminated measures and mechanisms in any form, including the 1737 committee or panel of experts. During today's meeting again, the representative of certain Western members of the Council made baseless claims and deliberate misinformation regarding Iran's peaceful nuclear program, Iran's defensive capabilities seeking to instrumentalize the Security Council for narrow political ends. Iran categorically rejects these legally unfounded and politically motivated allegations. The claims that Iran has enriched uranium to 60%, the level allegedly required for producing a nuclear bomb, is a distortion of the facts and ignores the real root of the situation. Iran's decision to increase the level of enrichment was taken solely in response to the violation of commitment by the United States and European countries, and was intended as leverage to compel them to return to their obligation. Iran measures were lawful and explicitly permitted under the JCPOA. What is unfolding today is the reality an illegal and illegitimate war launched by Israel and the United States, two regimes that possess nuclear weapons against a responsible non-nuclear weapon state party to the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT. Since 2003, more than 20 years, Israel has repeatedly alleged that Iran is on the verge of acquiring a nuclear weapon, despite the IAEA reports over the years consistently contradicting such unfounded allegations. Based on these where lies the United States, a nuclear weapon state and the depository of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons in June 2025, attacked and bombed a responsible non-nuclear weapon state whose peaceful nuclear facilities were fully under the safeguards of the agency. This illegal act constituted a clear violation of the UN Charter, the principles of international law, the IAEA statute, the agency relevant resolutions, and the NPT, which the US is a depository. Iran's nuclear program have always been exclusively peaceful. It was subject to the most extensive and intrusive verification regime applied to any non-nuclear weapon state. No other state undergoes such a volume of inspections and scrutiny. Yet Iran is penalized, while those who attack safeguard nuclear facilities are excused. This is the clearest manifestation of double standards, and it is precisely this hypocrisy that undermines the credibility and integrity of the global non-proliferation regime. The claim that Iran walked away from the nuclear talks is simply untrue. Iran has never abandoned diplomacy. However, Iran was attacked for the second time by the United States while negotiations were ongoing. The fact alone exposes the absence of good faith on the part of the United States. In reality, Iran's pursuit of diplomacy was met with aggression by the United States and Israel. Now, I would like to say a few words about yesterday's Security Council meeting, which resulted in the adoption of an unjust, biased, and politically motivated resolution. At yesterday's meeting of the Council, the United States once again abused its position as President of the Council in an attempt to push through a completely political, one-sided, and unjust resolution against Iran. But the fact is clear. Over the past 2 days, many of the so-called co-sponsors of the resolution were subjected to political pressures to secure their support. While the root causes of the current tension in the region is clear and undeniable, the so-called resolution deliberately ignored it. Instead of condemning the main aggressor, the United States and the Israeli regime, it seeks to condemn the main victim of this illegal and illegitimate war of aggression. Yesterday was a shameful day for the Security Council. Those members, especially Westerns, who constantly assert their commitment to protecting civilians, especially children, prove that these claims are little more than empty rhetoric. They were unwilling even to condemn or express concerns over the heinous crime committed by the United States and Israel against innocent people in Iran, including the massacre of 170 girls students at a school in Minab, Iran. During yesterday's meeting, Iran made it clear that resolution is basically inconsistent with the Charter of the United Nations and with international law. The text does not refer to the real source of the tension in the region, namely the war of aggression illegally and illegitimately launched by the United States and Israel against Iran. It does not call upon the aggressors, the United States and Israel, to halt their unlawful attack against Iran. Instead, it demands that Iran refrain from exercising its inherent right to self-defense to protect its sovereignty, territorial integrity, and vital interest. Such a demand is unlawful and entirely contrary to the Charter and international law. Iran has repeatedly and clearly informed the Secretary General and members of the Council through its official communication that the Security Council, due to obstructing the United States and certain Western countries, has been unable to fulfill its responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. As long as the Council fails to discharge its duties, Iran has no choice but to exercise its inherent right to self-defense under UN Charter and international law. Iran fully respects and remains committed to the principles of freedom of navigation under the law of the sea. However, the current situation in the region, including in the Strait of Hormuz, is not the result of Iran's lawful exercise of its right of self-defense. Rather, it is the direct consequence of the destabilizing actions of the United States in launching aggression against Iran and undermining regional security. I thank you.
The Secretary said that it's perhaps the U.S. Navy with a coalition would be perhaps escorting vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. Can you respond to that?
No, just no, I have no response for that. Iran is inherent right to preserve the peace and security in the Strait of Hormuz, and it is our responsibility.
What's the level of the relation between the Kurdistan region of Iraq and Iran these days, especially after the claims there might be a ground operation by the Kurds, but they declined that, and what's your response to that?
We had a serious negotiation with the regional government of the Kurdistan in Iraq, and they told us that they will remain and they are not going to allow any illegal transfer from their territory to the Iranian soil.
Mr. Ambassador, the new Supreme Leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, has said that they want to make sure that the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and now you said that you support freedom of navigation. Can you clarify Iran's position now, what it is, why?
I said we are not going to close the Strait of Hormuz, but it is our inherent right to preserve the peace and security in this waterway, and it is our right. Thank you.
Mr. Ambassador, what is your message to people that live in the Gulf right now? Several countries in the Gulf have intercepted missiles from Iran today.